My name is Holly Archer. I am 34 years old. And the last time my parents saw my daughter, they sent her home shaking. She was 7. She walked through the front door holding a wrapped box against her chest like it might explode. Her eyes were red. Her lower lip was trembling. "Grandpa said to give you this," she whispered. He said to tell you not to overreact." I knelt down, took the box, told her to go wash her hands for dinner. Then I peeled back the wrapping paper. What I found inside made me pick up the phone and dial 3 numbers. But the police were only the beginning. What happened over the next 48 hours would crack open every secret my parents had been keeping, and force my husband to face a truth he had been avoiding for years. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories. This is where family moments get the spotlight they deserve. The messy ones, the hard ones, the ones that change everything. Drop a comment below if you have ever been told you were overreacting when you were just trying to protect your child. Be sure to subscribe. Now let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in Grover, North Carolina. Small town. The kind of place where everybody goes to the same church and everybody knows whose daughter got into college and whose didn't. In our family, there were 2 children. Derek was the responsible one. I was the sensitive one. That is what my mother Diane called me from the time I could talk. Holly is sensitive. Holly takes things too hard. Holly cries when you look at her wrong. She said it the way you might say someone has a limp. Not cruel exactly, just a fact about a flaw. Derek played baseball. Derek got a summer job at 16. Derek graduated with honors. My mother kept his trophies on the mantle in the living room. My school portrait hung in the hallway behind the coat rack. When I told my parents I wanted to go to nursing school, my mother put down her fork and looked at me the way she looked at stains on tablecloths. "Girls like you should find a good husband first," she said. "Then we'll talk about school." I applied anyway. I was accepted. My father said congratulations once, in the driveway, when my mother was not home. My mother told the neighbors I had left because I was selfish. I paid for every semester with loans and double shifts at a diner called Route 11. 4 years, $217,000 in debt by the time I finished. Not once did my parents offer $1. But here is what I never told anyone. Every month during nursing school, I sent $200 home. Groceries, heating bills, whatever they needed. My mother never mentioned it. Not once. Not to me. Not to anyone. In our family, sensitive meant silent, and silent meant safe. Derek was 3 years older than me, 37 now. He sold medical devices for a regional distributor. Good salary, company car. The kind of job my mother understood because it came with a title she could repeat at church. When Derek bought his first house, my parents gave him $42,000 for the down payment. They handed it over at Thanksgiving dinner like it was dessert. My mother made a speech. My father shook Derek's hand. When Matt and I bought our house 2 years later, my mother said, "I hope you did not stretch yourselves." That was it. No check. No handshake. No speech. I did not resent Derek for any of it. He was a product of the same house I grew up in. He learned early that approval had a price, and he paid it without complaint. He wore the right clothes. He married the right woman. He showed up to every Sunday dinner with a bottle of wine and a compliment for my mother's pot roast. And not once in 37 years, did Derek stand between my mother and me when her words hit bone. There was a Thanksgiving when I was 22. My mother told the entire table that I had gained weight since starting nursing school. Derek laughed. My father looked at his plate. I excused myself and cried in the bathroom for 11 minutes. Derek never apologized. But I did not know then that Derek would be the one to save us, or that it would cost him everything he thought he had. That part comes later. For now, all I knew was that my brother and I lived in the same family, the way 2 people live in the same building but on different floors. Same address. Different weather. I met Matt at a hardware store on Route 9. He was buying lumber for a deck he was building. I was buying a smoke detector because the one in my apartment had been chirping for 3 weeks, and I kept telling myself I would fix it tomorrow. He saw me standing in the aisle staring at 6 different models like they were written in another language. He said, The one with the 10-year battery. Trust me. We were married 2 years later. I wanted a small ceremony. Backyard. 30 people. Wildflowers in mason jars. My mother wanted a full church wedding with a sit-down dinner and a guest list of 180 people she knew from choir and bridge club. I chose the backyard. My mother did not speak to me for 3 months. Matt said, "She will come around. Family is family." He meant it with love. He came from a family that argued over football and made up over pie. He did not understand families that argued over power and never made up at all. When Lily was born, my mother appeared at the hospital 40 minutes after delivery. I had not called her. I had not told her I was in labor. Somehow she knew. She walked into the room while I was still in the bed, picked Lily up out of the bassinet before anyone could stop her, and held her against her chest. "There she is," she whispered. "There's my girl. Not Holly's girl, not Matt's girl. My girl." Matt looked at me. I looked at the ceiling. A nurse came in and gently took Lily back for a weight check that nobody had ordered. I mouthed thank you to that nurse. She winked. Some people understand without being told. My mother called Lily my little angel. She said it the way some people say my house or my car. Ownership wrapped in affection. Within 6 months, Diane had bought Lily an entire wardrobe, pink dresses with lace collars, patent leather shoes, outfits I would never have chosen because Lily was a child who liked overalls and rain boots and getting mud on her knees. "She looks like a doll," my mother said. She meant it as praise. When I told Lily she could not eat the cookies my mother brought, Lily had a mild dairy sensitivity and the cookies were loaded with butter. My mother waved her hand. "One cookie will not kill her. I raised 2 children and they turned out fine." I said, "Mom, her stomach hurts when she eats dairy." Diane looked at Lily. "Mommy is too strict, isn't she, Angel? But Grandma understands." Lily giggled. She was 4. She did not know she was being recruited. Matt watched from the doorway. He said, "She means well. Pick your battles." But this was not about cookies. This was about a woman who had spent 30 years controlling one daughter and was now starting on another. There was one more thing. During that same visit, my mother brought a stuffed bear from her house. Brown corduroy. Button eyes. One ear slightly torn. "This was yours when you were little," she told Lily. "Your mother used to sleep with it every night. Now it is yours." Lily hugged it. Named it Button. I watched my daughter hold a piece of my childhood that I did not remember giving away. Something about it felt wrong. Not the bear itself. The way my mother placed it in Lily's arms. Carefully, deliberately, like she was planting a flag. The changes came slowly, the way a faucet drips before the pipe bursts. Lily started refusing vegetables at dinner. "Grandma says I don't have to eat broccoli if I don't want to." She stopped wearing the clothes I picked out. "These aren't pretty. Grandma's clothes are prettier," she asked me once, sitting in her car seat on the way home from school. "Mommy, why are you always mad at Grandma?" I gripped the steering wheel. "I am not mad at Grandma, baby." "She says you are." I pulled into the driveway, turned off the engine, sat there for a moment. My daughter was 7 years old and she was already learning the vocabulary of sides, already being taught that love required choosing. That night, after Lily was in bed, I sat across from Matt at the kitchen table. "She is doing to Lily what she did to me." Matt looked up from his phone. "What do you mean?" "The comparisons, the undermining, the little comments that sound like love but taste like poison. She is turning Lily against me. She did the same thing with me and Derek. I was always the wrong one. He was always the good one. And now she is making herself the good one and me, the bad one." Matt put his phone down. For the first time, he looked like he was listening. Really listening. "What do you want to do?" "I want to set some rules." Matt nodded. Then he said, "Let me talk to them first." He called my mother that evening. I heard his voice from the other room. Calm, reasonable, the way he always was. Then silence. Then my mother's voice, muffled through the phone, rising. 20 minutes later, My father called back. You are tearing this family apart. I sent my mother a text message on a Tuesday morning. I wrote it 3 times before I hit send. Mom, we need to set some ground rules about time with Lily. I love that you want to be in her life, but some things need to change. She did not reply. Monday? She did not reply. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 days of silence. 5 days of the punishment she had been using since I was 12 years old. On the 6th day, she posted on Facebook. It was an old photo of her and Lily at the park. Lily was on a swing. My mother was pushing. The caption read, "Missing my angel. Some people don't understand how important grandparents are. Prayers appreciated." 31 likes by noon. 14 comments. Stay strong, Diane. Your grandchild is lucky to have you. Some children don't know what they have until it's gone. I read every comment. My face burned. That same afternoon, Pastor Jim Hollis called. He was the senior pastor at Grace Community Church, where my parents had attended for 23 years, where I had been baptized. Holly, your mother is heartbroken. I've known your family a long time. The Bible says honor thy father and mother. I said, Pastor Jim, I asked my mother to respect my parenting decisions. She responded with 5 days of silence and a public Facebook post. He paused. But she is still your mother, Holly. Yes, I said. She is. I hung up and called my father, asked why my mother had not replied. Richard's answer came the way all his answers came, as a deflection dressed up as advice. You know how your mother is. Don't push her. Tell your mother not to overreact. She is telling you the same. Just let it go, Holly. Let it go. The family motto. The box arrived on a Saturday. Lily had spent Friday night at my parents' house. Matt had agreed to it. I had not wanted her to go, but Matt said, "It is one night. Your mom has been quiet. Maybe she is trying." My father brought Lily home at 10 in the morning. He did not come to the door. He parked in the driveway, walked Lily to the front step, handed her the box, and said something I could not hear from inside the house. Lily told me later what he said. Tell your mother not to overreact. Then he walked back to his truck and drove away without looking back. Lily stood in the doorway holding a box wrapped in yellow paper with little daisies on it. The wrapping was cheerful, deliberate. My mother always wrapped gifts like she was entering a contest. But Lily was not smiling. Her eyes were red. Her lower lip trembled. She was holding the box against her ribs like it was the only thing keeping her upright. "Grandpa said to give you this," she whispered. I took the box, told her to wash her hands, sat her at the kitchen table with a glass of water and a peanut butter sandwich, turned on the television in the living room so she could hear cartoons while I opened it alone. I sat on the edge of my bed and peeled back the daisy paper. Inside, stacked neatly, were photographs. Every family photo my mother had kept of me from childhood. Birthday parties, school plays, the one from my nursing school graduation where I was standing alone because nobody came. But in every photograph my face had been cut out. Carefully, with scissors, not torn, cut. Clean lines around my jaw, my forehead, my hair. Every image, precise removal. Beneath the photos, a letter in my mother's handwriting. You chose to abandon this family. We are simply making it official. And beneath the letter, resting at the bottom of the box, button. The stuffed bear. I picked it up. It was heavier than I remembered. I turned the bear over in my hands, ran my thumb along the belly seam. The original stitching was tight and even, factory work from 20-some years ago. But near the bottom, the thread was different. Thicker, looser. Someone had opened the bear and sewn it back shut. I got a pair of scissors from the kitchen drawer, cut the new stitches, reached inside through the stuffing. My fingers closed around something flat, smooth, and hard, about the size of a domino. I pulled it out. A small white square with rounded edges, a tile tracker. I knew what it was because 2 nurses on my floor used them to find their car keys. This one was active. The tiny light on its face blinked once every 3 seconds. For a moment I sat perfectly still. Then I did what I do at work when a patient's vitals go wrong. I stopped feeling and started acting. I placed the tracker inside a Ziploc bag from the kitchen, sealed it, set it on the counter. I picked up my phone and dialed 911. I would like to report a tracking device placed on my child's belongings without my knowledge or consent. The dispatcher asked me to stay on the line. I did. Then I called Rachel Torres. My best friend since our sophomore year of college, now a paralegal at a family law firm in Charlotte, the kind of person who answers her phone on the first ring when your voice sounds like mine did. I need you here, I said. Now. On my way. I hung up and looked at the kitchen doorway. Lily was watching cartoons, eating her sandwich. She did not know that the bear she had slept with at Grandma's house had been tracking every mile of her life. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother sent 20 minutes earlier. Did Lily get home safe? The question used to sound like love. Now it sounded like surveillance. Rachel arrived 8 minutes before the police. She walked through the door, looked at my face, looked at the counter where the Ziploc bag sat next to the pile of cut photographs, and said nothing for a full 5 seconds. Then she said, "Where is your phone?" "Right here." "Start screenshotting every text your mother has sent you in the last 6 months. I will photograph the physical evidence." That was Rachel. No panic. No sympathy speech. Just the next step. She photographed the box, the wrapping paper, the photos with the faces cut out, the letter, the bear with its belly slit open, and the tracker in the bag. She arranged them on the table and shot each item from 3 angles, then took a wide shot of everything together. Officer Martinez arrived at 11:14. He was calm, professional. He looked at the tracker and wrote something in his notebook. "Ma'am, placing a tracking device on another person's property without their consent is a criminal offense in this state. Were you aware of the device before today?" "No." "And this was inside a stuffed animal belonging to your daughter?" "Yes. My parents returned it inside a wrapped box this morning." He nodded. "Wrote more. Asked for my parents' names and address." Rachel, standing behind me, asked, "Officer, can you walk us through the process for filing a protective order?" He looked at her. "Are you an attorney?" "Paralegal. Family law." He explained. "Temporary order filed at the courthouse. Judge reviews ex parte. If evidence supports it, the order is usually granted the same day. If you are watching this and you have ever found something in your child's belongings that made your stomach drop, I want you to know you are not paranoid. You are paying attention. Drop a comment below. Tell me your story. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. I will be right here." The front door opened again, but it was not Matt. It was Derek. He stood on the front step wearing a wrinkled button-down and jeans. His eyes were raw. He held a manila folder in his right hand, pressed flat against his thigh like he was trying to hide it and present it at the same time. "I need to talk to you," he said, "before Mom finds out I am here." I looked at him. My brother. The golden child. The one who laughed at Thanksgiving when my mother told everyone I had gained weight. The one who had never once stepped between us. "Come in," I said. He stepped inside, saw Rachel, saw the table covered in photographs and the Ziploc bag with the tracker. His face went white. "She actually did it," he said quietly. Officer Martinez looked up from his notebook. "And you are?" "Derek Archer, her brother." I led Derek into the living room. He sat on the edge of the couch. I stood. Rachel leaned against the doorframe with her arms crossed. 10 minutes later, the front door opened again. Matt. He had seen the patrol car in the driveway. He came in fast, keys still in his hand, contractor's boots tracking mud. He stopped in the doorway of the living room. He saw me. He saw Derek sitting on our couch. He saw Officer Martinez at the table. He saw Rachel by the door. His face drained of color. "What is he doing here?" His voice was flat but loaded. 3 years of silence with my brother. 3 years since Thanksgiving when Derek had stood in our mother's kitchen and said, "Holly always makes everything about herself." Derek stood. "Matt." "No." Matt held up a hand. "You don't get to show up here today like—" "He came to tell us something," I said. And you need to hear it. Matt looked at me, then at Derek, then at the folder in my brother's hand. Sit down, I said. Both of you. Derek opened the manila folder on the coffee table. His hands were steady, but his jaw was tight. Mom has been talking to a lawyer, he said. She wants to file for grandparent visitation rights, maybe more. He spread the contents across the table. Printouts of emails between my mother and a family attorney named Garrett Loomis. A draft petition. Handwritten notes in my mother's small, cramped script. I picked up the notes. My mother had written a list titled Evidence. Underneath, Holly leaves Lily with babysitter regularly. Neglect. Holly restricts Lily's diet, controlling. Holly isolates Lily from extended family. Holly shows signs of emotional instability. All of it fabricated. Every line a lie dressed up in legal language. Matt leaned forward. She wrote this? Derek nodded. She asked me to testify. She asked me to tell the judge that Holly hit Lily. The room went silent. Matt's voice came out low and hard. She asked you to lie under oath? Yes. Derek looked at me, and I almost did. I almost convinced myself it was the right thing, that Mom knew best, that she always knows best. That is what she taught us, isn't it? Rachel picked up one of the email printouts. She scanned it, flipped the page, scanned another. These emails are admissible, she said. Your mother put her plan in writing. This folder changes everything. Derek looked at the Ziploc bag on the counter, the tracker, then at the table. The bear with the split belly, stuffing visible. She put a tracker in that? He stared at it. That is the bear from our house. Mom kept it on the shelf in the hallway for years. She called it Holly's bear. My bear. My childhood. My daughter. My mother collected things that belonged to me and turned them into tools. Not anymore, I said. I need to go back a year. To the Thanksgiving that broke us. My parents' house. 12 people around the dining table. Turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole. Richard at the head, Diane at the foot. Everyone between them arranged like props in a play she had been directing for 40 years. Lily was tired. It was 7:30. She had been running around with her cousins since noon, and her eyes were glassy the way they get when she needs to lie down. I said, Lily, honey, it is bedtime. Let's go brush your teeth. My mother set down her wine glass. Holly, it is Thanksgiving. One late night will not hurt her. She is exhausted, Mom. She needs sleep. I had 3 children staying up past midnight every holiday, and they survived. You had 2 children, Mom. And I am asking you to respect my decision. The table went quiet. 12 people and not a single fork moved. Diane's eyes filled with tears. Not sad tears. Weapon tears. I just wanted one holiday with my granddaughter, she said. Her voice cracked in exactly the right places. And you are ruining it. You always ruin things, Holly. Derek, my brother, my golden child brother, set down his napkin and said, Holly, why do you always have to make everything about you? My father looked at his plate. Your mother is an old woman. Show some respect. Matt stood. We should go. I picked up Lily. She was half asleep against my shoulder. I walked through the kitchen to the front door. Nobody followed us. My mother's voice came from the dining room. Fine, take her. You take everything. 12 people at that table. Not one of them said a word. I buckled Lily into her car seat. Matt started the engine. We drove 37 minutes home in silence, back in the living room. Present day. Derek reached into the folder again and pulled out a stack of photocopied pages. There is more, he said. The pages were copies of a small notebook. My mother's handwriting, line after line, in blue ink. Dates on the left, notes on the right. September 14th. Holly dropped Lily at school at 7:52. Picked up at 3:15. Babysitter on Thursdays. September 21st. Matt works late Thursdays. Holly alone with child. October 3rd. Lily said she had cereal for dinner. Evidence of neglect. October 10th. Holly left Lily with babysitter March 14th for 6 hours. Follow up. October 18th. Teacher name, Mrs. Koenig. Room 204. School phone number listed. November 1st. Pediatrician. Dr. Patel. Grover Pediatrics. Holly missed Lily's flu shot. Reschedule. Neglect pattern? The list went on. Page after page. 7 months of entries. Each one gathered from conversations Lily did not know were interrogations. Where did you find this? I asked. Her desk drawer. She left it unlocked last week. I was looking for a pen. Rachel took the copies from my hands. She read them the way she reads depositions. Fast, focused, marking key passages with her fingernail. This is surveillance, she said. Your mother has been building a case against you for at least 7 months. Every question she asked Lily. What did you eat? When does mommy pick you up? Who watches you? Was data collection. Matt stood and walked to the window. He pressed his forehead against the glass. How long has she been doing this? He said without turning around. Derek. At least since September. That is when the notebook starts. But knowing Mom, the planning started earlier. I looked at the cover of the photocopied notebook. My mother had written 5 words across the front in her careful script. Everything I do for Lily. The sentence sat there. Calm, righteous, complete. The kind of sentence a person writes when they believe they are the hero of someone else's story. I set the pages down. My hands were steady. I had stopped shaking sometime between the tracker and this moment. I do not know exactly when. I looked at my brother, the golden child, the one who always showed up on time with the right wine and the right answer. Why are you telling us this now? I asked. Derek sat back. He rubbed his palms on his jeans. Then he said, because Amanda is pregnant. 8 weeks. Nobody spoke. I looked at the ultrasound, he said, this tiny thing on the screen, and I thought, what happens when Mom does this to my kid? When does it start? Does she already have a notebook with Amanda's name on it? He paused. I told her I would not testify. She said if I don't support her, I'm dead to her too. Matt looked up from the window. She said that? Same words she used on Holly 12 years ago. Derek turned to me. You remember? I remembered. I was 22. I had just accepted my first nursing position in Charlotte instead of coming home to Grover. My mother called me from the kitchen phone and said, if you do this, you are dead to me. I thought she was being dramatic. She did not speak to me for 14 months. Welcome to the club, I said. Derek almost smiled. Almost. Then his face folded again. Rachel looked at Derek with the detached focus of someone who has seen 100 family courtrooms. Derek, your testimony as a witness will be crucial. You can confirm the notebook, the custody plan, and the request to fabricate evidence. Are you willing to do this formally? Derek nodded. Yes. One more thing, Derek said. Mom's own mother, Grandma Ruth, did the same thing to her. Cut her off when she married Dad against her wishes. Mom never talked about it. But Dad told me once, when he had been drinking. Mom never recovered from that rejection. The room absorbed that. My mother, the architect of isolation, had once been its victim. It explained everything. It excused nothing. Rachel spread her palms flat on the coffee table, the way she does when she shifts from friend mode to work mode. Here is where we are, she said. You have enough for a temporary protective order. The GPS tracker is a stalking violation. The notebook shows a pattern of surveillance. The emails and draft petition show intent to file a fraudulent custody claim. Derek's testimony confirms the fabrication request. The cut photographs and letter demonstrate escalation and psychological intimidation. She counted the evidence on her fingers. 6 items. 6 reasons a judge would listen. I walked to the hallway and looked into the living room. Lily was curled on the sofa, asleep. Her shoes were still on. Her sandwich was half eaten on the armrest. Matt came up behind me. Are you sure? He said quietly. If you do this, there is no going back with your parents. I looked at our daughter, 7 years old, asleep on our couch, because she was exhausted from a night at her grandmother's house where she had been loaded with a box, a message, and a tracking device she did not know she was carrying. They went past going back, I said, when they put a tracking device on our daughter. I turned to Rachel. What do I need to do? She walked me through it. File at the courthouse Monday morning. Temporary order reviewed by a judge ex parte, meaning my parents would not be present for the initial hearing. If the evidence supports it, the order is usually granted the same day. Full hearing in 10 to 14 days. Officer Martinez, who had been writing notes this entire time, said, I will have the report ready for you by Monday morning. I signed the witness statement. Matt signed as a corroborating witness. Derek signed his written account. I signed my name the way I sign discharge papers at the hospital. Steady. Because when the patient is your own child, you do not get to shake. Sunday morning. My phone woke me at 6:47. Pastor Jim Hollis. A text. Holly, I am very concerned. Your mother says you threatened to have her arrested. She says you are keeping Lily from her. Please call me. This is tearing the church family apart. I did not call. By 9 o'clock, 3 more messages had arrived. Aunt Patricia. Honey, your mother is devastated. She has been crying all morning. Can you not just sit down and talk like adults? A cousin I had not spoken to in 4 years. Diane is a saint. Whatever happened, she does not deserve this. Then the Facebook post. My mother had written it at 7:15. The timestamp glowed on my screen like a countdown. When your own daughter treats you like a criminal for loving your grandchild too much. When you give your whole life to your family and they throw it back in your face. I am broken. But God sees the truth. Prayers appreciated. 47 likes by noon. 23 comments. Stay strong, Diane. So sorry you are going through this. Some children never appreciate what their parents sacrificed. I read them all. My face burned. My throat tightened. I put the phone face down on the kitchen counter. Rachel texted at 10. Do not engage online. Screenshot everything, every comment, every share. The judge will want to see the campaign. I screenshotted for 40 minutes. My thumb ached by the end. One comment caught my eye. Near the bottom. Amanda, Derek's wife. A single heart emoji. Derek had not told Amanda yet. He had sided with me in secret, and his wife was still sending hearts to the woman who wanted to take my child. I closed the phone and looked at the clock. 17 hours until the courthouse opened. Monday morning. I took the day off work, told my charge nurse I had a family matter. She did not ask questions. In a hospital, family matters are understood the way weather is understood. Everyone has been through one. Matt stayed home with Lily. I kissed Lily's forehead while she was eating toast. Have a good day, Mommy, she said. You too, baby. Rachel picked me up at 8:15. She drove. I held the evidence folder on my lap. Inside, Officer Martinez's police report, the photographs of the cut-up pictures, the tile tracker sealed in the evidence bag, 6 months of text message screenshots, Derek's signed statement, the photocopied pages from my mother's notebook, and printouts of my mother's Facebook post with all 47 likes and 23 comments. At the courthouse, I filled out the petition for a temporary protective order. The clerk's name was Linda. She wore reading glasses on a beaded chain, and she read the petition without expression. Ma'am, have you been in contact with the respondent in the last 24 hours? No. Filing fee is $89. I paid with the credit card I got when I turned 18, the one my mother told me I would never be responsible enough to have. The judge reviewed the petition ex parte that afternoon. Temporary restraining order, granted. My parents were served at 4:12. A deputy knocked on their door in Grover and handed the papers to my father. At 4:17, my phone rang. Richard. I did not answer. The voicemail was 31 seconds long, my father's voice, shaking. What have you done? Your mother is on the floor crying. Are you happy now? I looked at the evidence bag on the passenger seat. The bear was inside it, button eyes staring up through the plastic. The hearing was set for 12 days out. 12 days is not a long time, unless your mother is Diane Archer. Day 2. A letter arrived from Garrett Loomis, my mother's attorney. Formal letterhead. Thick paper. My client wishes to resolve this matter amicably. She proposes mediation as an alternative to court proceedings. Rachel read it over the phone. Mediation is a stalling tactic. She wants to delay the hearing and wear you down. Respond through the court process only. Do not engage. Day 4. Pastor Jim showed up at my front door in his Sunday blazer, holding a Bible like a clipboard. Holly, I really think you should reconsider. This will tear the family apart. I stood in the doorway. It is already apart, Pastor Jim. I did not do the tearing. He opened his mouth to say something else. I closed the door. Gently. Day 6. My mother went to Lily's school. She walked into the front office and volunteered to help with the second-grade reading program. The school secretary, who did not know about the protective order, gave her a visitor badge. Lily's teacher called me at noon. Mrs. Archer, your mother was in the hallway outside Lily's classroom this morning. I called Rachel. Rachel called the school and faxed a copy of the temporary restraining order. Day 8. An anonymous letter in our mailbox. Typed on plain white paper. No return address. Children need their grandparents. Think about what you are taking from Lily. Day 10. My father drove to Matt's job site. He stood by Matt's truck and waited until Matt came out. Son, you need to talk some sense into my daughter. Matt put down his tool belt. She is not your daughter right now. She is my wife, and you need to leave before I call the police. Richard left. Slowly. Like a man who has run out of people to send. I counted the days. 2 more until the hearing. Day 9. Bedtime. Lily was in her pajamas, purple ones with little stars. I was tucking the blanket around her shoulders the way she liked, tight on the left side, loose on the right so she could stick her foot out. She looked up at me. Her face was serious. The kind of serious that 7-year-olds wear when they have been holding a question for days. Mommy, am I the reason Grandma is sad? I stopped breathing. Then I sat on the edge of her bed. No, baby. You are not the reason anyone is sad. But Grandma said I was her angel. Did I stop being her angel? I put my hand on her cheek. She was warm. She smelled like lavender soap and toothpaste. She was asking me a question no 7-year-old should have to ask. You are always an angel, I said. But some people use that word as a leash, not a wing. She did not fully understand, but she leaned into my hand and closed her eyes. I kissed her forehead. I turned off the lamp. I closed the door until it was open just a crack, the way she liked. Then I walked to the kitchen, sat at the table, pressed my palms flat on the surface until they stopped trembling. My daughter asked me if she was the reason her grandmother was sad. That question came from somewhere. Someone planted it. I sat there for 20 minutes, not crying, not planning, just sitting, letting the weight of that question settle into the part of me that would carry it into court. If you have ever had to explain to your child why someone who claims to love them is not allowed to see them anymore, then you know this feeling. It is the hardest conversation, and it is the most necessary one. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that. Subscribe if you have not already. Day 11. Derek called. Mom found out I gave you the folder. I closed my eyes. How? Amanda. She did not know I was helping you. She thought I was getting involved in drama. He paused. She told Mom about the folder during a phone call. She thought she was venting. Mom turned it into ammunition. Diane had called Amanda directly. 8 weeks pregnant. Terrified. My mother told her, "Your husband is betraying his own mother. Is this the kind of man you want raising your baby?" Derek's voice was dry. Amanda is scared. She does not understand why I did what I did. Do you? Yes. No hesitation. But I am paying for it. He told me the rest. Diane had called him that morning. Her voice was the voice he had heard his whole life, the one that could make a room go cold. You are cut off, she told him. No inheritance, no holidays, no family. You are dead to me. The same words, the exact same words. 34 years apart? Same kitchen phone? Same woman. She used the same line, I said. I know. I was standing in the same house where she said it to you. I was looking at the same refrigerator. She still has the same magnets? Silence. Not uncomfortable silence. The kind of silence that sits between two people who finally understand the same thing. Are you still willing to testify? I asked. A long pause. I could hear him breathing. Yes, he said. Thank you, Derek. He said nothing for a moment. Then, you are welcome, Holly. It was the first honest exchange my brother and I had shared in 20 years. It arrived the way most honest things arrive in our family. Late, damaged, and only after everything else had failed. The night before the hearing, Rachel sat at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad and a pen she kept clicking. The judge will ask you why you waited, she said. Why you did not set boundaries sooner. Why you let it go on for years. I looked at the pad. She had written the question in capital letters, underlined twice. Because I was taught that boundaries meant I was the problem, I said. Rachel set the pen down. That is your answer. Say it exactly like that. She reviewed the evidence one more time. She laid each item on the table in the order I would present it. Tracker in the evidence bag, cut-up photographs, Diane's letter, notebook photocopies, Derek's signed statement, text message screenshots, Facebook post printouts, the voicemail transcript from Richard, the school incident report. 9 pieces of evidence, each one a moment when my mother crossed a line and assumed I would not draw one back. Rachel said, Diane will cry. Her attorney will paint her as a devoted grandmother who is being punished for loving too much. The judge will listen. Judges always listen to crying grandmothers. She leaned forward. But evidence does not cry. Evidence sits on a table and tells the truth whether anyone wants to hear it or not. I went upstairs, laid out my outfit for the morning, navy blouse, gray slacks, low heels, professional, quiet. The uniform I wore when I had to deliver hard news to parents at the hospital. Matt was in the bedroom. I am coming with you, he said. I know. I put the evidence bag with the bear by the front door so I would not forget it in the morning. Button's face pressed against the plastic. 2 button eyes looking up, waiting. I set my alarm for 5. I did not need it. I did not sleep. I woke at 5:12. The alarm had not gone off yet. I turned it off and lay in the dark for 3 minutes. Then I got up, made coffee, stood in the kitchen watching the steam curl above the mug. Outside, the sky was the color of a bruise turning yellow, the kind of morning that does not promise anything. I drove Lily to school. She was quiet in the back seat, drawing circles on the window with her finger. Have a good day, Mommy. You too, baby. I watched her walk into the building, purple backpack, ponytail bouncing. She waved once from the door. Matt drove us to the courthouse. Rachel met us in the parking lot. She was wearing her serious shoes, black flats she kept in her desk drawer for court days. Derek is already inside, she said. He looks like he has not slept. We walked in. The hallway smelled like floor wax and vending machine coffee. A bailiff directed us to courtroom 3. I saw them before they saw me. Diane and Richard were sitting on a bench outside the courtroom. My mother was wearing a church dress. Floral print, modest neckline, pearl earrings, full makeup. Her hair was set. She looked like a woman going to Sunday service, not a stalking hearing. Richard sat beside her in a gray suit. The same gray suit he wore to my nursing school graduation. The one event he had attended without Diane telling him not to. My mother looked up. She saw me. Her face cycled through 3 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, hurt, anger, and settled on something I had never seen before. Something between defiance and desperation. I walked past her. I did not speak. I did not look back. She wore her pearls to court. I wore my evidence. Judge Catherine Walsh presided. Small family courtroom. No jury. No gallery. Just 2 tables, a bench, a clerk, and a bailiff who looked like he had seen every version of this story. Diane's attorney, Garrett Loomis, stood first. He was tall, silver-haired, the kind of lawyer who owns cufflinks. Your Honor, my client is a devoted grandmother who simply wants to maintain a loving relationship with her grandchild. The petitioner is overreacting to normal family disagreements. Overreacting. The word landed in the courtroom the way it had landed on me my entire life. Heavy, dismissive, designed to make me smaller. I stood. Rachel had helped me prepare. I was representing myself. I could not afford an attorney, and Rachel, as a paralegal, could not represent me in court. But she had rehearsed every line with me. She had taught me how to present evidence. She had told me to speak the way I speak to worried parents at the hospital. Clear, calm, factual. Your Honor, my name is Holly Archer. I am a pediatric nurse practitioner. I am here because my parents placed a GPS tracking device inside a stuffed animal belonging to my 7-year-old daughter without my knowledge or consent. I paused. Let the sentence land. I am here because my mother has been systematically surveilling my family's movements and daily routines for at least 7 months. I am here because my mother asked my brother to fabricate testimony, accusing me of physically abusing my child. And I am here because my daughter came home shaking, holding a box of photographs in which my face had been cut out of every image. Judge Walsh looked at the evidence folder on my table. Proceed. I opened the folder. 9 items. I had placed them in order the night before. My father's exact words were, "Tell your mother not to overreact." Today, I was done overreacting. Today, I was documenting. I placed the first item on the clerk's table. The Ziploc bag with the tile tracker inside. Item 1, I said. A GPS tracking device found sewn inside a stuffed bear that was returned to my 7-year-old daughter inside a gift-wrapped box. The device was active at the time of discovery. It was reported to Grover Police on the date of discovery. Officer Martinez's report is included in the file. Item 2. The cut-up photographs. I fanned them across the table. 12 images, everyone missing my face. These are family photographs from my childhood. My mother cut my face from each one with scissors and sent them to me through my daughter. Item 3. Diane's letter. This is a handwritten letter from my mother. I will read one line. You chose to abandon this family. We are simply making it official. Item 4. The photocopied notebook pages. These are copies of a surveillance log my mother maintained for approximately 7 months. She recorded my work schedule, my daughter's school pickup times, our babysitter's schedule, our pediatrician's name and phone number, and my husband's work hours. Item 5. Screenshots of text messages and the Facebook post. These demonstrate a coordinated campaign to pressure me through family members and the community. Item 6. Derek's signed statement. The courtroom was quiet. Diane's attorney scribbled notes. My mother sat perfectly still, her hands folded in her lap the way she folded them in church. Judge Walsh examined the tracker through the bag. She held it up to the light. Then she set it down. Was this reported to law enforcement? Yes, Your Honor. Officer Martinez filed report number 204613. The judge made a note. She looked at my mother's table. Does the respondent wish to address these items? Garrett Loomis stood. Yes, Your Honor. We would like to call Mrs. Archer. But first, I called Derek. My brother walked to the front of the courtroom. He did not look at our mother. He looked at the judge. Diane made a small sound, a gasp that she tried to swallow. Her attorney put a hand on her arm. Derek stated his name, his relationship to me, his relationship to the respondent. My mother asked me to testify against my sister, he said. She asked me to tell this court that Holly physically struck her daughter Lily. That is not true. It has never happened. In 34 years, I have never seen Holly raise her hand to anyone. He paused. She also asked me to describe Holly as emotionally unstable. Holly is the most stable person in our family. She always has been. Derek presented the email copies from Diane's attorney. The draft custody petition. The pages from the notebook. I brought these documents to Holly because I believe my mother intends to take Lily away from her. Not out of love. Out of control. Judge Walsh looked at Derek. Mr. Archer, why did you decide to come forward? Derek's jaw tightened. Because my wife is pregnant. And I realized that if I helped my mother do this to Holly's child, I would be no different from her. I would be teaching my own kid that silence is the same as loyalty. It is not. Diane stared at Derek. Her pearls caught the fluorescent light. Her face was the face of a woman watching her last ally walk away. Garrett Loomis called my mother to the stand. Diane stood slowly. She smoothed her dress. She touched her pearls the way she always touched them. A habit, a ritual, a reminder to herself of who she was supposed to be. Mrs. Archer, Loomis said, can you explain the tracking device? My mother's voice was steady, practiced. I was worried about Lily's safety. Holly works long hours at the hospital. She leaves Lily with babysitters. I needed to know my granddaughter was safe. I sat at my table, hands in my lap. I said nothing. Judge Walsh leaned forward. Did you have the child's mother's consent to track the child's location? My mother looked directly at the judge. A grandmother should not need consent to protect her own grandchild. Judge Walsh's eyebrows rose a fraction. She wrote something down. Loomis tried to redirect. Mrs. Archer, can you describe your relationship with your granddaughter? But my mother was already past the script. The courtroom was too small. The evidence was too close. The son who was supposed to be her witness was sitting on the wrong side of the room. I raised Holly, she said. Her voice tightened. I know her better than anyone in this room. She is too sensitive to be a good mother. She always has been. She cries at everything. She takes everything personally. Mrs. Archer, Judge Walsh said. But Diane was past hearing. Her voice rose. Her hands gripped the edges of the witness box. Everything I did for Lily. Everything. The words echoed. The same words written on the cover of her notebook. But in a courtroom, with a judge watching, they sounded different. They sounded like what they were. She pointed at me. She took my grandchild. She is the one who should be on trial. Mrs. Archer, lower your voice. I will not lower my voice. I am that child's grandmother. I sat still, hands in my lap, breathing evenly, the way I breathe when a patient flatlines, and the room is screaming and someone has to stay calm enough to push the right button. Judge Walsh turned to my father. Mr. Archer, you delivered the box to your granddaughter. You told the child to tell her mother not to overreact. Is that correct? Richard stood. He was smaller in the courtroom than he was anywhere else. Smaller than he was at the head of the Thanksgiving table. Smaller than he was in his own driveway. Yes, Your Honor. Did you know there was a tracking device inside the bear? He looked at Diane. She stared back at him with the force of 40 years of marriage and control. Then he looked at me. Then at the floor. She told me it was just old things, he said. Keepsakes. Things from Holly's childhood. Richard, don't... My mother started. I did not know about the tracker. His voice cracked. The first crack I had heard in 34 years. But I should have opened the box. I should have opened a lot of things. The courtroom was silent. I am sorry, Holly, he said. I looked at my father. 64 years old. Gray suit. Hands that had built a shed in the backyard when I was 10, but had never once built a wall between me and my mother. I nodded. I did not speak. There was nothing to say that the judge needed to hear. Diane stared at Richard, her enforcer, her messenger. The man who had done every hard delivery so she could keep her hands clean. He had broken rank. In front of a judge. In front of their children. In front of the woman who had held the pen for 40 years while he held the page. She was alone now, and she knew it. Judge Walsh reviewed her notes for 90 seconds. The courtroom was so quiet I could hear the fluorescent light buzzing above us. I have reviewed the evidence presented, she said. The placement of a tracking device on a child's personal belongings without parental consent constitutes a violation of this state's stalking statutes. She looked at my mother. The systematic documentation of the petitioner's schedule and daily activities, combined with the attempt to solicit fabricated testimony for a custody petition, demonstrates a pattern of harassment and intimidation. She paused. A permanent protective order is granted. Diane Archer and Richard